Good morning everyone. I hope you guys are doing good. I want to introduce you to my new niece. Can you say hi? Say hi. This is Riley. I have a Chihuahua, and for those of you that know me personally, know my little Chihuahua is a barky, protective dog. And even with all that experience, my sister and my niece just got another Chihuahua for the family. Yes. I came over for the first time to meet her today, and I thought it'd be perfect to just film from here because today's topic is about family and having balance in family. So she did good. She went out, but she did growl and bark at me, which means that she's going to be just like her cousin Bear. So say hi. Say hi. Say hi, Mommy, if you're watching live. Okay, so today we're going to talk a little bit about having balance in family life. Yesterday we talked about finances and work and how to have that balance in those areas. And I sent out to a few people that requested it a budget sheet because we talked about how you have to really tell your money what to do. And that's the whole part of planning for these areas of life. When you are not addressing some of the areas of life, you find the stress that creeps up. So you have to put a plan in place for each area of life, but not all at one time because you'll go crazy. But family is with us every single day. It's not something that we can neglect, but there are going to be times when in a certain season, you're going to need to tell your family, hey, I'm really got this major deadline and I'm not going to be available as I usually am. And I want to tell you that that's okay. It really is. To have balance in family and life, you have to sometimes put one on the back burner. Now, does that mean that you can completely ignore them? No, but it looks different. What happens in your home on a daily basis might look different during that time when you are really overwhelmed with a project or a deadline, or you're really focusing on another area of life. We talked about really just taking one or two or three areas, making some action steps to improve those areas of life, and then going through that rotational basis. And if you address them and you don't ignore them for years and years and years, they won't creep up with you and cause you undue stress in life. So when you are in a season of life where maybe you really aren't going to be able to focus on everything, which is most of the time, and you're focusing on maybe your health, or you're focusing on your finances, or you're focusing on your mind, there might be times when you have to tell your family, I can't do this part of the day anymore. And that's okay. And you have to give yourself permission to do that. And if you communicate really well with them that this is what's going to happen because I'm going to start waking up to exercise, so I'm not going to be available to make lunches anymore in the morning. So how can we solve this problem? Because I have to address this area of my life because it's causing me stress. So that's okay. That's okay. Sometimes we think that we have to be everything and always perfect with our family because family is the most important thing. Well, obviously it is. But what's more important? Being healthy for them so that you're around longer and you're more engaged with them, or being unhealthy and not able to have energy to get off the couch? I mean, there has to be a fine line where you address personal things for yourself and you make that a priority so that you can prioritize your family as well. So we're going to talk a little bit today about family and what I find is to be balanced in that area. We know that family looks different for everyone, you know. I have two girls adopted from China. We went through our moments of time when I thought my family would be defined differently. You know, I asked God, you know, why am I not having a baby? All these other people have babies around me. And I didn't realize it at the time when I didn't understand that piece, but he had a different plan for me. So these two beautiful girls came to me through adoption, and I wouldn't define it any other way. It's the best experience to think that you're going to grow your family in one way and then for God to tell you, no, it's going to be this way. And I just am so grateful and blessed. And whether your family is from, biological, maybe it's from step, maybe it's from combined marriages, your family is who you find peace and happiness with on a daily basis. And I have a big family that I come from as far as how I was growing up. I had 3 sisters and 1 brother. So we had a family of 5 kids, and our parents stayed married through the 28 years. So happy to say I'm actually even past that. But they were together for a long time, and then they got divorced. They couldn't keep up with the pressures of family life, married life, because you kind of lose track of who you are along the way. And that's what happened with them in their marriage. And part of keeping balance in your family is to dedicate some priority time to your spouse, so that you don't wake up once the kids are all grown up and you're like, who are you? You have to really make sure you continue to grow with each other along the way. And in my family with 3 sisters, 1 who's passed away since, and I have 2 sisters and 1 brother still here on earth, and 1 brother that I don't even know where he is. There are in families sometimes people that just, they don't match your values, or they don't fit into your life. And unfortunately, that was a choice that he made. And then from some other choices that he made, even if he knocked on my door now, and I'm a very forgiving person, I don't have any good memory, so I kind of forget the emotion of some of the things that may have gone down. But I know that it would be hard for me to say, hey, come on in. I just don't think it would happen. And if you have some situations in your family with people that don't serve you well, it may be a time to kind of let them go in a sense, and focus your energy. Now I focus my energy on, and not that I focused my energy on him forever, it wasn't like I was, focusing energy, but you still subconsciously, remember those subconscious thoughts? They still kind of haunt you until you really let it go. And now I let that go, and I can focus on the relationships that really mean something to me. Like my sister, whose house I'm at right now, walking her dog. She gives to me, I give to her, we build each other up. And it's a relationship that should really be there for each other. And that's the family members that you want. Now, the children that you have in your immediate family and your husband, they of course take priority over everything, in my opinion, because they are what you've been kind of gifted with to develop and to grow and to give to this world. So they get all your energy, and then you save the rest for those other people in your family that serve you well, And there are things that are great about, even those people that are in your family that you love and you adore, and because they're there as a blessing to you, that you love most of the time. And then other times you want to say, what? You guys drive me crazy. And maybe it's just time for a break at that point. You're welcome. Well, let's talk about how to get some balance with your immediate family, because that's what I really want to talk about. There's that extended family and the family you came from, and if those people serve you and you are in good relationship with them, you should continue to develop that. But what do you do for the people in your family, your immediate family? Well, you have to plan for balance, because like we said, there's going to be times when you have to do other things. You have to do some work that might take you out of the plan of dinner, and you have to actually say, hey guys, I can't cook dinner all of this week. And it's okay. You're not the chef in the family, you're a member of the family. And you have to figure out, how does this family unit survive if I, who usually cooks dinner, is not going to cook dinner? And you have other humans in the family that can create a plan with you. So planning for balance is really important, because if you don't plan for that balance and you don't expect for them to do those responsibilities with you, then you're going to continue to be stressed, because you're going to think you have to have all of that done yourself, because you're the mother or you're the person in charge, and it's not necessary. You can plan for balance, especially in those times when you need it. The next strategy that I know is hard for all of us is to get help. You know, if there are things that you are doing right now that are causing you to be unbalanced with your family, hire out some help or assign some family jobs. And some of you are right now, I know, saying, well, I can't hire out help. I don't have the money. Well, there are sometimes, if you go back to that budget sheet that we talked about yesterday, areas that you are spending money on that you can actually give up to gain one house cleaner a week, you know, to pay somebody to prepare 2 nights worth of meals that might give you leftovers throughout the rest of the week. You could maybe find $100 a week to dedicate. It's just hard for us because it's like, I can't spend money. Well, at least me, and again, it's from my experience. I can't spend money on a job that I can actually do. Well, if you are spending money to gain some sanity from a job that's causing you stress, that is money well spent. So I really encourage you to look, you know, is there something in the budget that I can give up so that I can, during this season of life where it's more stressful, get some help, hire some help, whether it means a cook or a cleaner once a week, or just somebody to, you know, wash your car instead of you doing it for 2 hours, or whatever the job is that is taking or sucking up your time away from your family. I encourage you to figure out if you can actually fit that into a budget where you could hire it out and give yourself that permission to do so. And then if not, figure out how you can divvy up some chores in the house. And even if you have little ones, you know, they can take the little vacuum and go around the house. It doesn't have to be a perfect job. Accept the job that they do so that, one, you're encouraging them to grow in that way and know that they're responsible in the family, but also it helps you out. And it's not that responsibility always on you to do some of those chores. So, you know, hire it out or assign some consistent chores so that the load is off of you will bring some more balance in the family. When we were first starting the group, we talked about, you know, what stresses you. And I got a lot of good feedback. And one of the things that I was asked about was in the mornings. You know, what do we do in the mornings? And some of you are working still full time, and you leave just to get out of the house in the morning is a stressor. Some of you are stay-at-home moms, and you're like, well, how do I limit that stress of the family in the morning so I can get to work? And how do I limit the stress during the day when I'm like staying at home and trying to get some things accomplished with the work that I'm doing at home? And I will tell you that I think that there are two things there. One, in the mornings, it is a challenge to get yourself ready and get your children ready. And I did it for years, so I completely know. I am a stay-at-home mom now, or work from home mom now, but I did it for years while the kids were little. And the strategies that I think are most important is preparation, of course, you know, preparing for what you need to do in the morning. So you take off that stress in the morning. But sometimes it means waking up a little earlier. Sometimes it means telling your husband, hey, I need you to get out of bed at this time, and you have to take care of the 2 kids. You have to make sure they get dressed. We are not the only people in the family that know how to do things. And it's important for us to relinquish some of that and expect more from the people that are supposed to be running the family with us so that we can actually have less stress and they can enjoy us more. Because honestly, if you are stressed because you are thinking you're going to eliminate stress from your spouse by not bothering them, and then you're more stressed, trust me, they're going to be more stressed. It doesn't work that way because they're going to feel your stress. That energy is stressful, completely negative energy. So you have to figure out how to get help from the other people in your family. And if your kids are able to get themselves stressed, there's no reason you have to be involved with that at all. You may have to spend some time in the morning or, you know, for a month or so to really establish those guidelines that they are responsible to do these things, but then stick with it. And once you take that load off of you, you have less stress. Planning for time, family time is important. And if you're a stay-at-home mom, sometimes that family time kind of goes over the work time. So it's important that you kind of set those boundaries. So if you are trying to work from home, it's planning activities during the day that gives them quiet time. This is book time, and I want you to be doing this activity, and do not come and interrupt me. And even if it's not about the kids, maybe it's about the husband. You have to decide when you are working from home, especially, that there are going to be times when you need to be quiet and nobody should interrupt you. And I know from some of the most successful people, hi Aunt Cindy, most of the ones that are most successful, they set those boundaries, and their door is closed and the sign is on their door, and they have their work time. Amy Porterfield calls it her tiger time, and nobody interrupts because they know that that time is sacred. And even if you have a need for that silence in the morning or in the evening, or that time that you need alone, you have a sign, you put it on the door and you say, don't interrupt me. No kids, no husband. And yeah, will it be easy? You're probably saying, well, I would do that and they'd keep interrupting me. Well, no, you let them keep doing that, and you keep training them that this doesn't happen. See the sign? Mommy's by herself. See the sign? Your wife needs some quiet time. Close the door. And you do that 4 or 5 times, trust me, they're not going to keep bothering you. But yeah, you have to put in the time to set those boundaries. What does it mean to plan for family time? It's so important. And again, we're talking immediate family, but we're also talking extended family as well, because you want to have that time to just not only spend time with each other, but to develop those relationships, because you're going to need them as time and life continue. And I encourage you to not only spend time with your spouse one-on-one, because you don't want to wake up years from now and not know who they are, one-on-one with your spouse, but also with your kids and with your other family extended. He's 5'7". Right? I know, Carmen. Some of these comments are a little delayed, but Carmen just said, he's 5'7", but he constantly needs attention. And it is true that even though our kids, we sometimes think that they're most needy, sometimes it's not the little ones, it's the big ones, right? And you have to figure out how to draw that boundary so that you get that alone time. The distance makes the heart grow fonder. So, honey, I'm going to spend 30 minutes in my room, and I don't want any interruption. And it's a little easier to tell that to your husband because he kind of grasps that. You might have to train the kids not to interrupt, but you can do that to your husband a little quicker. And when you take that alone and quiet time, it will make the world of difference in living a little less stressed. When you are with your family, and I'm talking mainly kids, but even your husbands, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I have so much on my mind that I could barely hear what they're saying. I pretend to listen, or maybe I am trying to listen and it's not really pretending, but I'm not grasping. And I encourage you to, if that's you, if you are in that situation, to try to force yourself to hear what they're saying to you and listen to what they're saying, and tell yourself you're going to have to repeat something back to them. And I do this with the girls a lot, because sometimes even Kaylee's conversations with her work and her homework are over my head. But this is their life. This is where they are right now. And to make balance in family, you have to be where they are. You have to meet them where they are. So I listen. I intently listen. And I do have to force myself. Now, I don't do it all day long, because remember, I've built in those times where I'm quiet by myself. They know not to, come interrupt. I've built some of that in. So here, when I am focused on them and I am listening, I sometimes have to tell myself, okay, what is she saying that I can repeat back to her? Even though I don't understand a word of the geometry or geography that she's talking literally over my head, I'm just going to repeat back to her something that she said, so she knows that I'm engaged with her. and encourage you to make them feel worthy of your listening time, that you just, even when you're not able to focus on what they're saying because you have so much stuff in your head, just force yourself to just look at them and really just be engaged in their interest. Whatever it is, meet the family member where they're at. Even if it's your husband and he's talking about cars and you don't have any desire whatsoever to talk about fixing a car or what's happening with the tractor. I mean, there's so many topics that Bernie probably is interested in that I am not. But if you can balance where you at least once a day pay attention to what they're saying to you, repeat something back to them, or ask a question like you're interested, it will go a long way for them feeling loved and feeling like their interests matter. Okay, so I encourage you to do that. And when I say meet them where they're at, I really, even the kids today, there's so many people that say, oh my gosh, they're so, they're on their phones and they're not going to be social. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but they will be more social than our generation. So you sitting in your house by yourself is not social. Being connected to the world around you, that's being social. So yeah, they might be on their phones and they might be engaged in different things than what we were used to growing up. But it doesn't make it any worse. It doesn't make it like they're not going to be great people. You have to meet your family members where they're at. And if those is where they're at with their phone, or whether they like a different type of hobby, just meet them there. And don't try to change that. Just if it bothers you so much or it goes against the value, try to inch up a little bit. Inch up a little bit. Okay, set some boundaries for that, especially if they're in the home and you're trying to grow them. But meet them and accept them for who they are. I think that's really important. And this one you could hear all the time. Don't overschedule yourself. It's a really big challenge to try not to say yes to everything. And I know coming through raising two girls and working, it's sometimes hard to balance. And now I'm actually trying really hard to say no. Like, I can't do that. There's so many things I could be doing, and I'm trying to make sure that I say no so that the schedule is clearer and there's more time just to listen or just to be quiet by myself. Because if you book yourself over and over again, even with the kids' activities or your aunt's activities or going to take care of a family member, if you keep booking yourself, you're not going to have that time that you need to focus on those areas of life that make you less stressed. And sometimes we have a lot of time that we're wasting. So look at your schedule. If you're wasting time watching some show, and I'm not perfect. I got hooked on Covert Affairs and watched the 5 seasons probably in a month and a half. I'm not proud of it, but it was at the time what I needed, and I kind of got hooked. But will I do it again? No, I'm not getting hooked on another series. I have access to all these shows, and because of that experience, I was out of balance a little bit for a little bit of time. But I know that that's not where I need to be. So be wary of those distractions and those time wasters that don't allow you to find balance in your other areas of life, because those will really mess you up. And the last thing I want to share is something that I feel is really important for family and balance, is to create some traditions. And we've struggled with this over the years because Bernie and I are just not really, I don't know, we're not like overt people. Like, we don't have like a lot of desires that we have to like really, we don't have a lot of interests, we don't have a lot of hobbies. So it's really hard to like have a tradition. Like, I know some people that go to this art festival every year. It's something that they love to do. It's their interest or hobby, and as a family, that's what they do, or they do this or they do that. And because Bernie and I have to really force ourselves to maybe be interested in certain things, we and our kids, oh my gosh, are like little people of us, because they don't care either. They're happy being home. So we have to really work on that. Like, what are our traditions going to be? And the reason I think that's so important is because when you get to a point where later in life, when they're older, I think that traditional moment in time will carry them through some of those sadder moments. Like, it kind of gives them a foundation. So I want to build a few traditions, and we have a couple now going that are pretty cool. And I think that the girls will be able to look back and they'll say, yeah, we did this every week, or we did this once a year. And I think that that's important because it gives them a strong foundation, and it also gives me something to look forward to. And when you're trying to build a life that's less stressed, you have to have things that you look forward to. So if you don't have any traditions, and if it's not where you're raising kids anymore, that it's just you, make traditions for yourself. You know, Sunday night at the movies. You know, it's something that you set in your schedule that happens all the time. Whether it's weekly, monthly, it doesn't matter. It's just something that you know you hold sacred for yourself or your family, and that gives you something to look forward to. Hope that was helpful. You guys have any questions? I know there's some lag time in the comments, and I've only seen a few comments, but if you have any questions, that's the benefit of being on live, about balancing yourself with your family life, just put them in the comments and they'll come through. Tomorrow we're going to, well, this ends the series on areas of life. And if you haven't downloaded that form, it's under the file section of the Facebook page and has all the areas of life. And you can actually go there, kind of work through a couple areas and decide which one you've been neglecting and start to address it. And that will allow you to be less stressed if you address it and fix some things that might be wrong in that area of life. Tomorrow, we're gonna go lead, and we're gonna start, and we're gonna end the week with a topic that should interest all of you, if none of the others have. We're gonna start with talking tomorrow about stress eating and emotional eating, and why do we go for comfort foods when we know they're not good for us, but they, help us, and what's happening psychologically and what's happening physically with that type of eating. So we're going to address that we're going to move into that tomorrow and through the rest of the week. It's a pretty heavy topic, so I think you guys will get a lot out of it. All right, guys, hope you got something out of today. Please, if you did get something out of today's episode, or you have any comments about how you balance your family area of life, then put it in the comments for all of us to benefit from, and have a great day.